door to the parlor was not only locked, but blocked with a barricade made of sofas and the like. Because of that, Aunt Rosa seemed to suspect that any suspicious person approaching would break in through the window. Sitting on a one-person sofa, her back to the door, she continued to hold on to her gun. I didn't know what was what anymore. Even though my body and mind were worn out, I played with Maria, as she wanted. Maria had said it. Beatrice was testing us to see if we could solve the epitaph with the gold, so we had to try and figure out this riddle. In the beginning, I was a little interested and tried to solve it, but I didn't even have a clue where to start in this weird text. I didn't doubt that there was some riddle hidden there, but I seriously doubted I'd be able to suddenly leap to an answer. In the middle of part of the epitaph, there were the lines going from the 1st to the 10th twilight, telling us to journey to the Golden Land. On the 1st twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the 2nd twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. It was obvious that this hinted at the first 6 murders that had already occurred in the chapel, and Jessica and Kanakun's murders. If this was being followed, we still had to be prepared for 5 more people to be killed. On the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the 5th twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa-chan's corpses still haven't been found. However, if this follows the pattern, they're the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th twilights. They'll surely be found in a pitiful state, with their head and chest gouged. Actually, is there now death screens for those 2? Or because Badler hasn't seen them, they're not there? Okay, no, they're there. Yikes. Died in the servant room, his throat sliced open by a sharp blade or something similar. However, this alone isn't enough. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Died in the servant room. The finishing touches are yet to come. Oh, this alone isn't enough. As in, that's not enough for the final twilight he's a part of. Something has to be gouged. Same with her. The finishing touches, meaning something has to be gouged. Yeah. What are you up to, huh? What are you doing? So can we expect that 3 more of us will be gouged in the stomach, knee, and leg, and killed? Who will it be? I looked around the room, noticing that there were 3 people here, but how should I put it? My emotions seemed paralyzed. Strangely, I didn't feel frightened. Wait, shit. Ah, whatever. As I leaned against the sofa with the top part of my body gazing up at the ceiling, Maria noticed. Apparently she felt I was slacking off my riddle solving. She got mad at me for not taking this seriously enough.
Na, Maria. ベアトリーチェは確かこれを解いたらどうするって言ってたんだっけ?
I'm sure the witch wrote in her letter that she'd give up on collecting interest or something abstract like that. I optimistically took that to mean she'd give up on killing the whole family. But was it really written with that meaning? For some reason, I couldn't convince myself that solving the riddle would really save me. I feel like maybe even if we do solve it, we'll just be doing what the culprit wants and it'll all be a wasted effort.
そんなことはない。この碑文が解けたら、ベアとの儀式はおしまいになる。だからもうそれ以上誰も死ななくなる。
本当にそういうルールを奴が提示してるだけだろ。この謎を解けば多分じいさまの隠し黄金のありかがわかるんだろう。奴はきっとそれを狙って。
おお、狙わないよ。
なんでそう断言できるんだよ。
黄金は最初からベアとのものだもん。自分のものを狙ったりなんかしない。
じゃあどうしてベアとは俺たちにこんな大ヒントを授けてくれたんだ？というかどうしてこんなゲームじみたことを仕掛けてきたんだ？
魔法にはリスクが必要なの。
リスク？よく意味がわかんねえな。
例えばマラソン、完走すれば誰でももらえるメダルと一番になった人しかもらえないメダルって同じ価値だと思う？
思わねえぜ。つまりなんだよ。結局奴は遊んでるってことなのか？わざとこっちにチャンスを与えるようなことをして。
違 魔法というものなの。どんな大きな魔法にも絶対にリスクや弱点があるの。ないといけないの。
魔法って言われるとピンとこねえが、ギャンブルだって考えればでかく失う覚悟がなきゃでかくは、そして勝ち目の薄いギャンブルであればあるほど配当は。
その通りだよ。だからベアトは儀式のリスクをちゃんとみんなに説明したの。だからこの謎を解けばちゃんと儀式は中断される。だってそれを約束違反したらリスクにならない。
これを解けば奴は本当に約束を守るのか。
花は枯れるのにどうして美しいの？造花は見分けがつかないほど精巧でもどうして美しくないの？人間は死を賭すから奇跡が起こせる。不死の人間がいたとしてその人物に何の奇跡も起こせる道理はない。私たちも人生も魔女も儀式も、私たちはリスクを負わなければ何も成し遂げられないの。
謎が解けたらどうするんだ。ピンポーンって鳴らして挙手して回答を魔女に伝えて答え合わせをするのか。
それは知らない。でも解けばきっと自動的に儀式は終わる。
お。
マリアは詳しいな。そいつはみんなベアトリーチェに習ったのか。
So, if you don't bear a risk, nothing can be gained, is that it? It definitely is the way of the world, but sort of in conflict with the chessboard thinking I like so much. At least when making moves in chess, players grope for the best move, always trying to avoid risk and hoping for an advantageous turn of events. They don't trust to chance like in gambling. That's right, there's no room for gambling in an intellectual game. And yet, this person called Beatrice has created such an outrageous crime. Or maybe a ceremony. While purposefully imposing conditions for her own loss and announcing them to us. In chess, you always play your best move. So by putting yourself in your opponent's position, you can predict their next move. However, we can't be sure that Beatrice's moves are always the best moves possible. I thought she was probably making us focus on the epitaph to fool us in some way, speaking riddles. But according to Maria, that alone was impossible. She said this was a genuine risk that the witch had taken, and therefore proof that this was a formal ceremony for magic. I can't understand this witch called Beatrice. If she's committing this chain of murders with some goal in mind, why did she go to all the trouble of exposing the conditions for her defeat? No matter how I spin the chessboard around and think from my opponent's perspective, I can't understand why she'd give up if this riddle is solved. Isn't it almost as though Beatrice doesn't care whether she wins or loses? Of course, chessboard reasoning won't work against an opponent like that. I don't understand. I don't understand. What is Beatrice after that's making her carry out this crime? If she just wanted to massacre us all, she could have done it quietly without this whole crazy setup. There was no need for that kind-hearted advance notice, all this self-aware closed room stuff, or any of the rest. It's all overacting. I've got no clue what it means. Will I be unable to understand everything, as long as I keep thinking of Beatrice as a greedy human culprit? If I don't accept her as a witch, will my chessboard thinking be stuck before I've even lined up the pieces? If she really is a witch, and everything Maria said is true, then there's only one thing for us to do. The theory building and discord and searching for the culprit has all been pointless. We should have all gathered in the dining hall, combining our knowledge to solve the riddle. By combining the knowledge of that many people, we might have been able to grasp at least a thread of the answer. The greedy humans, each desiring to gain something over their opponents, were getting offered up as sacrifices one by one, without gathering their knowledge together. In the end, did the humans get what they deserved? They thought they were using their brains, but they were actually thinking only of their greedy selves. In the end, chessboard theory is a thinking technique where you project yourself on your opponent. So greedy people see their greedy selves inside their opponents. Damn. I looked lazily at Aunt Rosa. She was probably tired from being under all this tension the whole time. She couldn't sleep, but she kept staring vaguely at some point off in space. Aunt Rosa had announced that we couldn't trust anyone who hadn't been killed. Aunt Rosa's chessboard thinking saw herself inside her opponent. Oh. In other words, maybe Aunt Rosa was an isolated woman, unable to trust anyone and unable to let her guard down. Long ago, I think I heard a bit about it from Dad. Aunt Rosa was originally a very obedient child, but her age was too far separated from the other siblings, and they often made conflicting demands of her during their confrontations. Thanks to this, she'd undergone a lot of physiologically harsh experiences in her youth. Often when she copied one of her siblings, another sibling would give her a hard time. True, Aunt Rosa said many things today that could be taken as abusive. But that means those words were once showered upon her, which is why they were engraved in her vocabulary. That many abusive words that she'd spoken were also words that she'd been showered with in the past. Now that I think about it, I've had the feeling that her style of speech sometimes has traces of Uncle Kraus or Aunt Ava in it. I'd understood it as them being similar because they were siblings, but maybe it wasn't just that. For the first time, I truly sympathized with Aunt Rosa, whom I'd always assumed was just quiet and gentle. I don't sympathize with her. Then what about Maria? Maria's been making a certain claim for a while now. If we can solve the riddle, the wish displayed to us, the ceremony will be halted, and we'll definitely be saved. I think she also said that Beatrice will never break a promise. But this is Maria we're talking about. She herself never breaks promises, and she has the most innocent heart. So she believes Beatrice also won't break her promises. She's able to believe that. But isn't that just an image of Beatrice in Maria's mind? There's no proof that the real Beatrice always keeps her promises, right?
わらわは約束は守る。碑文の謎を解けば黄金鏡へ至ることができるだろう。さすれば儀式は終わる。それ以上誰も死にはせぬ。
お前みたいな下道の極みがルール。
わらわが残忍で卑劣で下道であることを否定はせぬ。だがわらわは魔女だ。魔法を使う。魔法を使うには守らねばならぬルールがある。わらわは魔女だからこそそれだけは信じるがよい。
これだけめちゃくちゃやってきて、それでもルールだけは信じろってのかよ。
わらわはたぶらかしはする。もちろん人も騙す。人間と変わらぬ。だが約束として口にしたことを保護にしたことは一度もない。人間はどうか約束を必ず守
約束を守ろうなんてキャッチフレーズがある以上、ちゃんと履行されてるかどうかは疑わしいな。
True.
わらわから見れば人間の方がよっぽど利己的で下
Humans
道
are
な
the real
存在よ。
monsters, of course.
人間の約束ほど疑わしいものはない。わらわも時に人間と契約するが、くだらない願い一つ叶えるのにどれほど厳重に取り決めをするか想像もつくまい。少しでも隙があると連中はすぐに叶える願いの数を100に増やせとか小さな豆粒に
親父によく言われたぜ。契約書ほど怖えもんはねえって。よく読まずにハンコを押すやつは骨の髄までしゃぶられて当然だって言ってたぜ。悪徳で荒稼ぎしてやがったんだな。
察しろ。人は生まれながらに詐欺を知りはせぬ。どこかで被った。だから覚えた。押し付け合わずにはいられぬ人の世の罪。はてどこの魔女に聞いたやら。まあいい。そなたが思っているほどわらわも無慈悲ではないぞ。
嘘をつけ。これだけの大勢をこんな残酷な方法で殺しておいて何が無慈悲ではないだ。約束は守るだと。いい加減なことを言うな。俺はお前を認めない。断じてそれを譲らないことだけがお前への抵抗だと俺は信じてる。
なるほど。永遠の苛波であるのはかもしれん。1000年は長い。魔女の強さは魔力より我慢強さで決まるのかもしれんな。なるほど。ベルン教の恐ろしさもうなずける。
何をわけのわかんねえ話をブツブツ言ってやが。さっさと永遠の苛波とやらを続ける。俺は1000年でも1万年でも付き合う覚悟だぜ。
よいよい、少しは戦う気力も戻ってきたようだな。そうでなければつまらない。ほら、対戦ゲームでもよくあるだろう。乱入したけど相手があまりに弱くて拍子抜けで、わざと負けて最終ラウンドまで延長させて、最後に本気でフルボッコにすることとかってあるだろ
う。例えの意味がわかんねえよ。
ワインと同じよ。よく熟成させねば輝かぬ。
Sure.
お前はそれに耐えられるワインだ。わらわがじっくりそなたを、わらわの優雅な時間を彩る最高の美酒に育て上げてやるぞ。だからこの程度で屈服などするな。わらわを引き続き否定してくれ。何しろわらわはそなたが認めぬ限り儚き幻想に過ぎぬのだから。
Huh. God damn. There's that, glass breaking sound we're so familiar with by now.
辛いな。
Of course.
教授、お察しします、シャノンさん。鍵を頼みます。お亡くなりになられたとはいえ、奥さん、私には触れることができません。
はい。
Shannon nodded sharply, expression filled with a sense of duty. George, Goda, and Shannon had broken a suitable window and were inside the chapel. Since they really hadn't wanted to break one, they searched for another way in just in case. But in the end, after proving once again that there was nowhere they could slip in through, it only became more obvious that this chapel was a mysterious closed room. Inside the chapel, time had stopped ever since the last time they'd left it. Even George wasn't able to approach that gruesome Halloween party again. It was only natural. It reminded him again of the sadness of losing both parents at once. And Goda, thinking of the possibility that those corpses might have changed in some horrible way, now that half a day had passed, didn't want to let George get near them. Shannon followed Goda's instructions and approached the party table. Normally, Shannon might have resented having another dirty job forced on her, but now she could truly understand Goda's mental state. Even though Goda had prodigious skill, he had gotten dragged into trouble, losing his job and ending up left out in the streets before Nazi gave him a new life. Though it had been just a casual employment decision for Nazi, Goda must have thought it a turning point in his fate. Those around Goda could see that he felt a special kind of loyalty to Nazi. Good. So he probably didn't want to lose that feeling, even after her death. Now that half a day had passed, the bodies of Nazi and the rest had changed completely. Small bugs sniffing out at the smell of death started together. Ugh. It really wasn't something you want to look at directly.
奥様、失礼いたします。
Because of her long experience as a servant, Shannon had an idea of which pocket Nazi kept the key to her room in. It would probably be this pocket. Her guess didn't fail her. Just by touching the outside of the pocket, she was immediately able to feel it.
ありました。奥様の部屋の鍵です。
Shannon held the key up high, showing the others what had been found. As George and Goda watched her, their eyes opened wide. That wasn't the expression Shannon was expecting, so it startled her. Fuck. Something behind her. Yep. After all, Shannon hadn't noticed. George and Goda, watching from afar, noticed it first. After all, when Shannon had held the key up high, a blizzard of gold leaf had seeped up from around the table. They were countless gold butterflies. It was the first time George had seen them, so it might have looked like some kind of illusion. Goda already knew. He knew that those gold butterflies were far from beautiful, and that they would bring about some kind of misfortune. Misfortune. And that gold swelled, trying to suck Shannon in.
シャノンさん
Oh, is Goda gonna sacrifice himself?
走って
Shannon also realized that gold butterflies were trying to swallow her up. She ran unsteadily, her expression still shocked. As she did, the gold butterflies danced around her all at once. They grouped together. They tried to swallow her up.
シャノン！くそ、なんだこれは。これが君たちの言っていた黄金の蝶なのか。
早く外へこいつらめクソクソ
Oh shit. George and Goda rushed up to Shannon, driving off the cloud of butterflies. While the butterflies were scattered, they ran towards the broken window. However, they needed a good footing to get out the window, which was surrounded by shards of broken glass. Yep, and Goda's gonna give them the boost out. When they'd entered, there had been enough time to prepare for that. Now there was none.
扉から出よう。足場を探してる時間なんかない。
開かない。硬い。
貸して。くそ。
Uh-oh.
ジョージ様お早くクソなめるなうごー
Goda took off his jacket, swinging around, scattering the group of butterflies. Saying he was outnumbered would be a real understatement. It was doubtful that it even bought them a short amount of time. George struggled with that broken handle. Its age showed, and it didn't turn well. Can't lift his strength. Needs the right angle. There's some trick to it.
ジョージ様クソこの化け物どもが
At that moment, Goda saw it. He was seen by it. In other words, their eyes met. On top of the party table, no, the stained glass behind it, floating, laughing, was the figure of the witch. He saw the figure of the laughing witch in the center of the golden whirlwind, with the gold butterflies fluttering about at the ready.
ベアトリーチェ
It should have been Goda's first meeting with her, but he knew her at a glance. Just like the other servants had said, this was certainly the witch of the portrait herself.
そろそろ晩餐の時間ではないか。すでにわらわはこのそなたらを素晴らしきディナーで歓待しなくてはならぬというおあつらえ向きに3人ではないか。これは実に好都合。
うわ
あ、開いた。
ゴダさん、早く。ベアトリーチェ。
あ。
足を止めてもよいのか。ここがそなたらの墓場にふさわしいというなら、
okay.
それもよかろうぞ。
Oh, what the hell is this song? Oh, it slaps. Alright.
かつての主の傍らにて死後も仕えたいというその心意気はたたえようぞ。
Golden whirlwind that wrapped around the witch burst. It was like an evil hand that literally spread its fingers and was trying to attack them. And the cloud of gold butterflies attacked with a fluttering sound.
急ぐんだ。足を止めちゃいけない。
George's voice brought Shannon and Goda back to their senses. Standing here now would make them like frogs getting stared down by a snake. They had to resist. They had to fight this incarnation of this new brutal and frightening order in which Rokujima had been enveloped. God damn, it slaps. There was no time to take out their umbrellas. The three of them dashed out into the pouring rain. The three of them never realized because they didn't turn around. The gold butterflies apparently couldn't handle the rain too well. And this hampered their ability to chase after the humans. The three people ran from their golden pursuers and flew into the mansion.
愉快。こうでなくては面白くない。
God, yeah, love the song.